by the Punch TV. So much and then the first time I do her channel here. Subscribe my and like and share. We will share our comment section or for my everything for some minimum say a political trending story be up to for my say. Everything for a gentleman, just say alphabet be a be a can everything for my uncle near uncle video name right by the Iṅṯụlỵ every blame.
The way things have gone, let's be honest, that it appears to me that a lot of egos have been bruised. You hear the Honorable Afenyo Markins saying that as for him, even spiritually, he can never sit on the minority leader seat. I don't know what that means. I thought that we are in the fiscal realms.
Maybe he's a spiritual man.
I don't know how spirituality is being brought into this, you know, and how that helps any matter, you know. And then you have the attacks, you know, the onslaughts, the tirades, the insults that have been launched at the Speaker of Parliament by Afenyo Markins and his cabal. You know, so it's created a very poisonous situation, let's be honest. Very, very poisonous situation where people's authorities have been undermined and there's been a lot of bad blood. But we cannot continue, and it should be clear to everybody now that Supreme Court judgments are not enough, you know, to resolve this. I've heard some members of Parliament say that they are busy campaigning and nobody is going to get them to sit in Parliament before December 7th. You know, I've heard a number of MPs say that. And you see, it's not every MP who is in a safe seat. You know, some are in a battle of their lives, you know, in swing constituencies. Many constituencies in Ghana today that are swing constituencies. And this business of emergency recall of the House, they show up or we attend upon the summons of the Speaker, and then the people who triggered the recall are nowhere to be found, you know, and all of that time wasted cannot continue. So we really have to look at the way forward, and the way forward can only be achieved through cool heads prevailing, maturity. Let's have a political solution. Those who must say sorry to others, because some of the words have been really, I mean, if you go back to some of the things Afenyo Markins has said about Speaker Bagbin, really offensive, naked insults, and it does not bode well for a parliamentary democracy. So where there has to be concessions, it should be made, and then we can move forward. I'm really concerned about what happens to salaries, wages and salaries from January next year. I'm really concerned about even the Electoral Commission. You know, the Electoral Commission was supposed to appear before us with the security services to let us see their plan for the elections and see their level of preparedness for the elections. All of that cannot happen because of the crisis. Meanwhile, the elections are just a few days away. We have
that's for the budget. It's a 3-month budget. You need just 2 hours to approve it.
Yeah, but
so even if it's the 5th of January, you can approve it.
Yes, but if this continues and things are deteriorating, you know.
What I don't want you to consider the tax waivers.
Oh, certainly. Also, as for those tax waivers, nobody is interested in them on our side. We are not going to give it any support. So, maturity. A lot of people out there are not happy with how we are conducting ourselves, and I think that we could really have handled this matter.
Have you had any indication
in a different way?
Have you had any indication from your caucus or the Speaker as to whether the Speaker is going to recall Parliament or whether the Speaker is waiting for another
emergency recall?
Emergency recall.
The indications we are picking up is that it's not likely that we can sit before the elections. A lot of MPs, really on both sides, but particularly on our side, have sent strong signals that they are not going to respond to any recall. I've heard some even speak openly about this because they are in a battle of their lives in their constituencies. And there have been 2 recalls that those who triggered the recall didn't show up. You know, total waste of their time, total waste of resources. So they are not motivated So I'm really doubtful if there will be a meeting before the December 7 election.
Okay. All right.
There are things.
Yeah, Doc.
Yes.
Good morning to you. Good morning to Nana. And I was granting interviews on a number of
Nana told us
stations.
Because I heard you.
Yes.
Yes, I couldn't stay.
on a public health matter.
Yes, and that's where I
And the
want.
case body on fraud.
Yes.
Okay. We'll get to that later.
And that's really where I want to begin. I think that
Finish with the court. So we can then go to-
I really think that the matters of the courts have been really overflogged, and the jury is out there. The debate will continue. I am on the side of the minority judgment. It's very sound, very consistent with what I have said here many weeks ago. And my main concern while all of this legal gymnastics are going on is that how do these judgments really resolve the stalemate, resolve the crisis that we have? We need to pay heed to the advice that former President Mahama offered and that Speaker Bagbin also offered when he addressed the press. It appears to me that that is the sound way forward in terms of finding a political solution. We cannot afford to spend all the time litigating this matter and going after the judges, who is right, who is wrong, and all of that, when we are losing crucial time. Ordinarily, if you look at the calendar of Parliament, we should by now have passed appropriation for the ensuing year. In an election year, the budget has to be approved for the first 3 months so that at least workers' salaries can be paid. Here we are without a budget. December is fast approaching, and we will soon be hit with a situation where salaries cannot be paid in January. And so this whole tussle cannot continue. There is the need for cool heads to prevail. The Speaker should be accorded the respect he deserves, and let the leadership of both sides, the Speaker, and even leaders in both parties across the divide, sit and fashion out a way forward. Because really, if you look at even the majority decision, there is no specific order on the Speaker. It does not resolve the crisis in terms of if whether Parliament should be recalled, Parliament should convene, what happens to our budget, what happens to urgent matters.
But that's not a business of the court.
That are pending. Of course. So that should tell you that the courts have a limited scope, a limited role to play in this matter. And that the continuous flexing of muscles where, people want to show that, they can go to court, they can undermine the Speaker. And this began way before even the Speaker delivered his ruling on this matter. There was an attempt to stop the Speaker from carrying out his mandate. And I think that all of this conundrum should highlight the wisdom in how many jurisdictions, including Ghana for years until this rather sordid point, where the judiciary has been careful, in stepping into Parliament and meddling with parliamentary functions in the way and manner this present Supreme Court has done. So here we are. I mean, those who say that they will cite Speaker Bagbin for contempt. The question is, cite him for contempt for what? What has he done, contrary to any judgment of the courts? So really, the only way forward, looking at the fact that time is of the essence, the year...
All the things that they agreed on, for which reason they said they had...
Exactly.
What has happened to them?
Yeah, they have not been met. You know, I'm sure organized labor will say that they are also waiting for the crisis in Parliament.
Which crisis? That's just one of the many things
to be resolved.
That was just one of the many things that were supposed to have been done.
Yeah, but you agree.
What about all the others?
You are right. But it was a key demand by organized labor to have that LI repealed. So here we are. Parliament is not sitting. Urgent business is not being responded to. So I come back to the solution in terms of the way forward. I think that former President Mahama was very eloquent and insightful on that. Speaker Bagbin as well. Let's see who has prevailed. Let the leadership of Parliament on both sides and those who have been offering some mediation behind the scenes, like the Peace Council and the Council of State. I think that they can continue. But the president has really been aloof in this matter, and he should be really concerned because he has a budget to present. The budget is of the president. It comes to Parliament in the name of the president, and he has to be seen offering leadership in this matter. He should not just be aloof, appearing to be removed from this, at least on the outside. We all hear what he gets up to behind the scenes on this matter. But he needs to bring leadership to bear. And so far, you don't see that leadership. As former President Mahama said, if he was president, he will have called the opposition leader. He will have engaged with both sides of the aisle, including the speaker, and then a roadmap will be.
First time I do channel, subscribe my and like and share. We share. Comment section.